If you want to see change, you must become the change. If you want life to get better, you must get better. Growth doesn't happen while you're waiting. It doesn't visit the lazy or the comfortable. Growth is a daily discipline. You don't stumble into it, you force it, with intention, with effort, with consistency. Every day life asks you a question. Will you grow today or will you coast? And coasting, make no mistake, is drifting backward. You don't stand still in life. You're either building yourself up or letting yourself down. The days you avoid discomfort are the days you delay your destiny. Growth is not found in ease. It's found in resistance. Just like muscle doesn't grow without tension, your mind, your will, your discipline, they all require pressure. And if you're not feeling stretched, then you're staying small. If you're not challenged, you're not changing. You've got to become the kind of person who wakes up and demands more from themselves than anyone else would ever dare ask. Because when you raise your own standard, everything else begins to rise with it. Your results, your energy, your confidence, your life. And it doesn't have to be some big grand act. Growth is in the little decisions. Choosing the book over the screen, the workout over the excuse, the discipline over the delay. It's in refusing to end the day without investing in yourself, even just a little. Force yourself to grow. Not when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. Because what you resist doing is usually what you need to do. And the longer you avoid it, the longer you remain where you are. You want new levels? They come with new lessons. And the tuition, but oh, the reward. That version of you that you've only caught glimpses of in your quiet moments, that version is worth it. But you won't find that version sitting back. You won't meet that version in the comfort zone. The future is reserved for the person who chooses to grow when no one's watching, when it would be easy to settle. So start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things calm down. Force it. Because what you do today will echo tomorrow. If you want a better future, you've got to build a better you. Brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. That's how you grow. That's how you win. Growth is not automatic. You have to demand it of yourself. It doesn't come by chance. It comes by change. And the change must begin with you. You can't wait for motivation to strike or for conditions to be perfect. If you sit back hoping life will somehow hand you growth, you'll be sitting in the same place a year from now, only older and more frustrated. You've got to step into it with intent, with effort, with hunger. See, the soil of life doesn't produce fruit on its own. It produces weeds. Growth, like a garden, must be cultivated. You've got to get your hands dirty. You've got to wake up every day and plant something, an idea, a new habit, a stretch beyond your comfort. If you don't plant purposefully, you'll reap passively. And that's how people end up stuck, busy, but going nowhere. You have to demand it of yourself. Not once, every day. Demand that you read a page. Demand that you ask the hard questions. Demand that you reflect on your progress. Demand more from your words, your actions, your time, because if you don't place a demand on your potential, life will place a limit on your outcome. There will always be something easier to do than grow. There will always be distractions, detours, and delays disguised as good reasons. But reasons won't change your life. Decisions will. And one of the greatest decisions you'll ever make is to stop living by default and start living by design. You've got to tell yourself, I will not settle, and mean it. Not just when the mood is right, but especially when it's not. Growth begins when excuses end. It's born the moment you say, I'm responsible for where I go from here. No blaming, no waiting, no hoping, just doing. And the most powerful force behind growth is consistency. The truth is, you don't become who you want to be all at once. You become it daily, in pieces, in choices, inch by inch. And those inches add up, but only when you demand them. Only when you say, today, I show up for me. The world doesn't owe you growth. Nobody will push you harder than you push yourself. So place the demand, set the standard. Choose the path that sharpens you, even if it's uphill. Because comfort never made anyone extraordinary. Growth is the reward of the disciplined, the focused, the relentless. The question is not, will growth find me? The question is, will I demand enough of myself to go find it? If you don't stretch, you shrink. That's the quiet truth most people avoid because it feels easier to stay the same. But easier doesn't mean better. It often means slower decline. See, growth lives at the edge of discomfort. And when you avoid that edge, you slowly start to pull back. Not all at once. No alarm goes off. No sirens. But little by little, you begin to shrink. Comfort is a silent thief. It doesn't show up and take everything in a night. It doesn't kick down the door. It just whispers, "You're fine right where you are." And at first that feels like peace, but eventually that peace turns into paralysis. You stop reaching. You stop risking. You stop improving. Before you know it, you're stuck in routines that no longer challenge you, surrounded by habits that no longer challenge you, surrounded by habits that no longer serve you. Stretching isn't about pain, it's about expansion. And if you stop expanding, your capacity to live fully starts to fade. You get rusty. Your thinking dulls. Your standards drop. That fire you once had, it flickers. Not because it burned out, but because you stopped feeding it. You stopped stepping into the places that scared you just a little. You stopped aiming higher when you got comfortable with good enough. But the truth is, growth doesn't live in good enough. It lives in the stretch. It lives in the extra mile. The uncomfortable conversation, the early morning you didn't feel like getting up, the opportunity you didn't feel ready for but took anyway. It lives in challenge and it rewards those who seek it. Stretching isn't just about achievement, it's about identity. Every time you stretch, you remind yourself what you're made of. You remind yourself that you're not defined by where you are, but by how far you're willing to go. You begin to trust yourself more, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. But here's the key. No one can stretch for you. No one can reach your potential except you. Others can encourage you, guide you, challenge you, but you have to take the step. You have to lean into the uncomfortable space where growth lives and say, this may not feel good now, but it will grow me. Because when you stretch, you make room for more. More capacity, more courage, more confidence. But when you shrink, you don't just lose progress, you lose possibility. You lose the version of you that could have been, if only you had pushed a little further. So stretch. Every day, in thought, in effort, in vision, say yes when it's easier to say no. Take the stairs when the elevator looks tempting. Do the hard thing not because it's required, but because it will remind you who you are becoming. Because if you don't stretch, you shrink. And comfort, quiet, cozy, deceptive comfort will steal from you the very life you were meant to build. Every day counts. That's the truth most ignore while waiting for the right time. But the clock doesn't pause, and life doesn't give credit for good intentions. Every day is either a step forward or a quiet slide backward. There's no such thing as standing still. Neutral is a myth. Life is always moving. You're either advancing with it or being left behind by it. And it doesn't take a major mistake to fall behind. All it takes is one day of neglect. One day of putting off what you know needs doing. One day of saying, I'll start tomorrow. And suddenly you've drifted. And drifting is dangerous because it's comfortable. It feels safe. It feels like you're not losing much, but it's erosion in disguise. Progress is built in the daily decision to act, to learn, to push, especially when it's hard, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the price of momentum. You don't wait for energy, you create it through movement. One step forward makes the next one easier. But the opposite is also true. Once you start sliding, it's harder to stop. You see, your habits are either working for you or against you. There's no in between. If you're not feeding your mind, it's being starved. If you're not stretching your comfort zone, it's shrinking. If you're not investing in your growth, you're silently reinforcing stagnation. The absence of action is still inaction with consequences. Now, the good news, You don't need giant leaps every day. Just a step, one disciplined decision, one small win, one uncomfortable choice that moves you just a bit closer to the life you know you're capable of. That's all it takes to shift the direction. Because forward isn't a result, it's a rhythm, it's a way of living. It's a refusal to waste the day, no matter how small the progress seems. One day may not seem like much, but string enough of them together and you've built a future. But let too many slide by and you wake up wondering where all the time and opportunity went. So ask yourself, every night before you close your eyes, did I grow today or did I drift? Did I step into discipline or slide into delay? Did I choose courage or comfort? Because you're building a life one day at a time, and if you're not building it on purpose, it's being built by accident. And nothing built by accident ever reaches its full strength. So step forward, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because momentum is not found, it's made. And every day is your chance to make it. You're not born disciplined. You become disciplined by choice. No one shows up on this earth with a natural gift for self-control or the instinct to delay gratification. That's not how it works. Discipline isn't in your DNA. It's in your decisions. It's something you grow into, not something you're handed. It's not inherited. It's built. At some point, you look at your life and realize something powerful. No one is coming to make you do it. No one is going to force you to get up early, to say no to distractions, to work when it would be easier to rest, to study when you'd rather scroll, to take the stairs when the elevator looks tempting. No one is going to save you from your own habits. That's on you. And once you accept that, a shift happens. Discipline isn't about being the most talented or the most motivated or the most inspired. It's about being the most consistent in the face of resistance. The choice to be disciplined is the decision to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's what separates those who wish from those who win. Talent can give you a head start, but discipline keeps you in the race long after the feeling fades. It's not flashy. It doesn't always feel exciting. In fact, it often feels boring. Doing the reps. Saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Waking up before the world expects you, showing up after others have quit. It's simple, but it's never easy. And that's what makes it powerful. Every disciplined person you admire, every peak performer, every success story, they all made the same choice: to be stronger than their excuses, not once, but over and over. They failed, they slipped, they got tired, but they didn't stay there. They chose to return to discipline, and that's what makes the difference. Because the truth is, everyone struggles. Everyone has days they want to quit, but not everyone decides to keep showing up. That's a choice. That's where you separate the amateur from the professional, the dreamer from the doer. Not in what they want, but in what they choose, day after day, minute by minute. And here's the best part. The more you choose discipline, the easier it gets. You build it like a muscle. You train it like a skill. You don't become great by trying to be perfect. You become great by choosing not to give up. And the more you practice saying no to comfort and yes to growth, the more natural it becomes. You start to crave it. You start to respect it. Because discipline doesn't just change your results, it changes how you see yourself. So if you're waiting to feel ready, stop waiting. Make the choice today, right now. Choose to be the kind of person who follows through, who stays focused, who keeps their word to themselves. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You're not born disciplined, you become it by choosing it again and again. The price of growth is discomfort, but the reward is transformation. That's the trade, that's the deal, and it's not negotiable. You don't get to grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You don't get to rise while holding on to everything that's kept you low. Growth demands something from you, something internal. It calls for the part of you that's willing to stretch, to bend, to be broken open a little, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you stronger. Discomfort is the gateway. It's the toll booth on the road to who you're meant to become. And most people stop there. They see the discomfort and turn around. They don't realize that pain isn't the problem, it's the path. See, discomfort isn't the enemy of progress, it's the evidence of it. It's the sign that you've moved out of what's familiar and into what's possible. But we've been trained to avoid it, to seek ease, shortcuts, convenience. We're taught to chase comfort as if that's where life gets good. But life doesn't get good in the easy moments. It gets good when you realize you're capable of doing hard things. That's where confidence is built. That's where identity is shaped. In discomfort, in resistance, in pressure. Ask anyone who's truly grown, who's turned their life around, built something meaningful, stepped into a higher version of themselves, and they'll all tell you the same thing. It hurt. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't always exciting. It was lonely sometimes. It was frustrating. It felt slow. But they kept going. They embraced the discomfort because they believed in what it would produce. And what it produces is transformation. Not just better results, but a better you. You don't just accomplish more, you become more. You become resilient. You become disciplined. You become someone who follows through, someone who doesn't quit when it gets tough, someone who refuses to stay the same when you know there's more in you. The transformation isn't just external. Yes, your income might change, your body might change, your opportunities might multiply. But what matters more is what changes inside. The belief, the standards, the vision. You begin to think differently, speak differently, walk differently, because you paid the price, because you went through the discomfort and didn't let it define you. You used it, you turned it into fuel. Most people want change without cost. They want the mountain without the climb, but life doesn't work like that. The climb is what makes the view worth it. The price you pay in discomfort is what makes the transformation last. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. So you choose comfort now or transformation later. And the best part? Discomfort is temporary, but transformation is permanent. Growth may hurt in the moment, but regret lingers. Regret stays. Growth pushes you forward. Regret pulls you down. So when the discomfort shows up, and it will, don't run from it, recognize it, respect it, and walk through it. Because on the other side of discomfort is the person you were designed to be. And that version of you, that version is worth every bit of the price. The habits that shape you tomorrow must begin today. Start small, start now. That's not just a clever phrase. It's a principle that builds legacies. Because tomorrow doesn't change by accident. It doesn't improve on its own. You can wish for it, hope for it, pray for it, but unless you do something different today, tomorrow shows up looking exactly like yesterday. Everything about your future is being built right now. In the quiet moments, in the small decisions, in the disciplines no one sees. It's not about doing something huge once in a while. It's about doing something small every single day. That's how habits work. That's how character is formed. That's how results are earned. Most people are waiting for a perfect moment, the right energy, the magic motivation to show up before they start building better habits. But that moment rarely comes. You don't wait for a better life. You build one, brick by brick, choice by choice. And those choices begin now. Not next week, not when you feel inspired. Now, start small. That's the secret. Start with something so small you can't fail. One page, one push-up, one glass of water instead of soda, 1 minute of stillness, one act of discipline. It may not feel like much, but that's the beauty of it. Small is sustainable, and sustainability is what makes success possible. Big goals are exciting, but it's the small habits that get you there. No one wakes up suddenly disciplined, fit, wealthy, or wise. It's never one massive action. It's the result of 1,000 tiny decisions compounded over time. You either set those habits in motion today, or you spend your life chasing a future that never arrives. And the truth is, if you don't control your habits will control you. They don't just influence your day, they shape your identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your system is your routine. What you do regularly becomes who you are eventually. You can't wait for life to push you. You've got to take the first step. And when you do, momentum takes over. The more you keep a promise to yourself, the more confidence you build. And confidence feeds discipline. Discipline feeds results. And results change everything. But it all starts small. And it starts today. Not with the perfect plan, not with a 10-step strategy, just a decision. I begin now. One action, one shift, one moment of integrity between what you said you'd do and what you actually do. Because the future doesn't respond to your intentions, it responds to your habits. And your habits begin with what you decide to do right now. So no more waiting, no more overthinking, no more delaying your growth because it's not dramatic enough. Start small. Start now. And don't underestimate what happens when you show up for yourself daily, because one day you'll look back and those small habits will be the reason everything changed.